Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake, this is Nadia. Today we are talking about Moana 2, the sequel to the beloved Disney animated film. We just watched it in theaters, and we haven't spoken to each other about it, as usual. Just a silent car ride home.
And then now we're filming.
So tell me, what is your relationship to the first Moana? Because I'm kind of curious.
I actually like the first Moana. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember really liking it. And that actually is a reason why I also wanted to watch the second one. But I really want to talk about Moana 2.
Yeah, okay. What did you think of Moana 2?
This is probably the biggest grab of a sequel that I've ever seen before. It was really hard for me to stand there, sit there, act neutral. Especially I feel like it was unhealthy for me to watch this late in my pregnancy. It brought my whole mood down. I want to stress eat. I want to think about life and contemplate it, and I'm trying not to get this negative energy to my baby, but it's really hard, you know?
Wait, you're acting like you saw some horrific documentary or something traumatic.
Why would you ruin it like that? It's just...
So how is it ruined?
Oh
Tell
my
me.
God, how is it not ruined? It's just disgusting. I don't know.
Whoa.
I would rate it 2 out of 10, and the only reason I give it 2 is because the ending is somewhat tolerable. I hated it.
Oh my God. Okay.
I hated it so much.
Wow.
That I was drinking water so that I have a water break.
When was...
go to the bathroom break so that I have an excuse not to watch another freaking... It's just so superfluous. It's just...
When was the last time you hated a movie this much? Because you're talking like me now. Am I rubbing off on you? The negativity?
I do have your DNA in me. This kid. But I
Okay, come on, tell me what was so aggravating?
What is not aggravating? I mean, it was so cheesy. It was what happened to the essence of the character? And I don't know why you keep ruining movies like this, Disney. I don't understand. Moana had, the first one ended in a great way. It just felt like very lazy writing. She goes on an adventure. They recap what happens in the first one, which is typical in a lot of films, the sequel, so that you don't have to watch the original in order to watch a sequel, okay. But then it's just, she has idiots as her crew. Doesn't make any sense. It felt like it was meant only for little kids. And I felt like the first one I actually enjoyed. So either I'm just not understanding it because I'm not a little kid. It felt like the first one was for more broad audience members, and I enjoyed it. Second one, it didn't feel like it was for me, and it felt like it was very simplified. It was overly simplified. There's so much that I could say that I would want to do different, some of them being spoilers that I'll get into, but the biggest flaw for me was the script. It just felt like it was really lazy. The ending was the ending conflict, like I said, is the only reason I give it 2 stars, because it was tolerable. I like the sequence, I like the animation at the very end, especially when it comes to resolution. It felt like a crash grab to me,
A crash grab?
A cash grab to me.
Well, it is kind of like a crash grab.
Yeah, I guess it's that too.
So another element that's important to these movies is that it is a musical, right? It's an animated musical. So the first one had music songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda. This one did not have him. What did you think of the music and the songs?
I hated it all. I don't know how else to clarify that. I didn't like the storyline. The music goes with the storyline, and I hated the storyline, and thus the music with it sucked.
So are you waiting to go into spoilers to kind of explain more of what's wrong with it?
I mean, I could do that.
You were so over it.
Just so over this film.
But it's funny is that it was a 90-minute film, but you act like it was...
Yeah, I had to check after. Was that really only... It was 1 hour. It was 1 hour 40 minutes long.
I'm just so surprised because...
And that extra 10 minutes I felt.
I really thought we were going to sit here and you'd go, yeah, it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was fine, and I was going to be the one being super negative. I felt
like I was in an awkward Thanksgiving dinner where I'm waiting for everyone to eat food so that we could leave.
I feel so aligned with you right now. So
really?
I really did not like this movie. I just thought it was boring. It was just, I was struggling to stay awake. The songs, first off, there's maybe like one that is kind of catchy. They're so lifeless without any dramatic tension. It's like they wanted to redo Moana, but without any character development. It's like,
exactly, yeah.
Who is Moana in the sequel? In the first one, she has growth. She has to change. So does Maui. In the sequel, everyone just is nice to each other. They get along. There's no conflict. There's even a character who you think will be a big villain, and they're kind of like lurking in the shadows. You find out halfway through the movie, they just have a song, and you don't even know why they're there. We'll get into that character later, but there's so many baffling choices, like narratively, that go on in this movie that I think can only be explained when you look at the origins of how this movie came into existence. So are you aware that this was originally going to be mini series on Disney Plus? No. It was going to be episodic series until some executives at Disney decided, hey, we could probably make a lot more money since Moana is huge if we threw this into theaters. Because of that, it feels like there's multiple threads going on, different stuff, things that could have gone on longer and had more character development, like her team. There's so many new characters that we just know nothing about. They're just walking cliches. You have that one quirky character who's like an inventor and is getting into stuff. You have the old guy who's just old. You have
an elder.
Yeah, you have the elder. Thank you. That's the term. An old guy who's old. Not the term. But you don't feel connected to any of these characters. And the only real... It's almost like a Mission Impossible movie, but they're trying to bring some emotion. Because it's about the emotion, the musicals, the feelings. And really, all she wants is to achieve a mission.
Well, it kind of feels like from what you're saying, they try to make it into Lilo and Stitch kind of thing. And then... I
don't know how, because there's conflict. There's so much conflict. Like Lilo... It has flaws. Moana has no flaws. She is a good person. She does everything right. Yeah. Her only flaw, there's nothing. She just wants to do things, and she does it by the end. She needs some help from her friends, but it's just really weird how the filmmakers were just, or however, for whatever reason this got shoved into a 90-minute movie. There's zero dramatic tension.
Well, that's why the characters around Moana needed to have dynamic personalities. They didn't, and that's one of the reasons why it was so sleepy. Like, I remember at one point in the film, I put my head on your shoulder, and I literally was like, oh, if I close my eyes, this would be a really great nap time. Like,
I could tell something was very wrong in the first probably 20 minutes because there were exposition dumps like crazy. You had characters going, well, there's this god who did this and all this, and they're just standing around, and you're going, there's kids in the theater, and I could just feel everyone, just all the energy just go, vroom. Oh, this opening act is so slow. They were dragging it out. She has a song, but it's just about like going far and can I leave my family behind? And you're like, you're going to be reconnected with your family. I'm like, come on, like it's not that type of movie. There's no real danger there. She has like an annoyingly cute little sister, cliche of like the sweet little baby kid in a Disney movie. And that's all that's connecting her, some kind of emotional connection. Maui, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character, isn't in the first half of the movie. He's not even in it.
First quarter.
He has a couple of it, but you know, and then once he's in there, there's none of that like tension that existed between those characters in the first movie. He's just like a sidekick, you know? And by the end, you know what this reminded me of was like a really boring arc of Dragon Ball. The characters have, it's not so much about, and I'm not trying to put down Dragon Ball, but I'm saying like, let's say Dragon Ball without any characterization. It's just like some kind of adventure. Just like, oh, we got to go, or like an episode of Kids TV or something. We've got to go defeat this thing or save this person or rescue this island. And by the end, I've leveled up in my powers, which is literally, that's what happens at the end of the movie. This isn't a spoiler, but a line in the movie, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character says to Moana, looks like you just leveled up. And it's like that's all that is, like she gets slightly more powerful.
So let's just get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, spoilers.
Basically, the whole story is surrounding Moana needs to go rescue an island that was like sunk to the ocean or that vanished, that was suppressed by this god who is angry. We don't even see the god. The god is not a character. He's just a force. By the end of the film, he's just a storm. So the movie is really more man versus nature than man versus man. It's so strange.
I mean, it's the significance of that island is that people were separated. All the ocean people were separated, and to unite them, you have to. The god just doesn't like humans.
All of the motivations are more philosophical and not personal. I mean, it is personal, but not in a way that we can connect with on a personal level. Her people want to be united. She's trying to find other cultures and civilizations and unite them. But that doesn't parallel with anything within her character. There's no changing to be done with her. She just wants to do this thing because it'd be good.
Well, she has a vision, and then she gets power or responsibility from after the conclusion of the first film, is kind of like a pathfinder, and then also she wants to bring other tribes into her tribe. So all that is fine. My problem is when she actually goes into that adventure. She has like an elder, she has a couple of people, and they just don't know what the heck they're doing.
I'm like, she'd be better off without that.
Yeah. I mean, they do make a joke in the film that says like, you need to level up on your recruiting skills. Doesn't make any sense because it just, I understand some humor with certain characters, but it just felt so one-noted. Like, what are they doing there? When you were talking about leveling up at the end, she becomes a demigod herself, basically.
Does she? I thought she just gets like tattooed. They don't say she's a demigod. She doesn't have any powers.
I felt like that was what was hinted, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's like she has some kind of magic or something.
She has tattoo that glows.
Can we talk about the whole Maui plot that involved the Dracula lady?
Yeah. Because that was so dumb. That's another thing. You think that we have an actual bad guy that we can... But then instead they try to make it more like Lord of the Rings, where you never see the bad guy
You never
at
see
all.
Sauron. Yeah.
And so it's just like the tower represents Sauron. It's like the storms, the hurricanes represent bad god. But it just felt like it was lacking so much substance.
The movie starts off with this shadowy character. Maui basically gets imprisoned, and that's why he's not around for the first, like you said, a third of the movie or whatever. He's imprisoned, he's trying to escape, and we're like, okay, who is this character? She comes across as very menacing. She's always in the shadows. Seems like an interesting villain. Through some very weird plot conveniences, Moana gets separated from her friends, but they're in the same place, which is like this giant clam in the ocean. They go down there, and then Moana meets finally this Dracula lady. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the point of her song was. Felt almost like she was trying to lure Moana into being more of a selfish character, or more of like
trap Moana.
Trap Moana, but also like give her a reason to maybe not care about her quest. Interesting. Are we going to show Moana like succumbing to the pressure? Like, there's a lot of pressure to put on one person. Maybe she's just going to think, well, I'm not worthy of this. I need to go live my life and have fun or whatever. That could be an interesting character development. No, that's not what happens. This character sings this song about like being chaotic. I don't even know what it was about. Very colorful sequence. And then Moana opens a portal, and it was it's so weird because Maui walks in and he sees Moana there, and he's like, you think there's going to be some conflict because he's been imprisoned by this Dracula lady for most of the movie. And then he's like, oh, you wanted to keep me here so that I would be with Moana when we went on this journey. And you're going, what? Yeah. How does she know that Moana was called on this quest in the first place? Why does she care that Maui is there? Why didn't she just say your friend Moana needs help? Like, what? It literally felt like they had longer story about this character in the series that they were like, well, we want to still keep this character in this plot beat, but we just need to compress it all. And then suddenly, okay, she's actually good. Why?
Yeah.
So bad and lazy. And it just reeked of corporate, all right, whatever, just put this series into a little movie and we'll just sell it to the kid.
No, it was very much like any potential that the movie had to be somewhat interesting, they stabbed it. And that's like the summary of what I can tell you of all the flaws in the film. Anything that it's like a relationship where someone just cheats on you and then apologizes and says like, they're going to change. And then just when you start to believe them, they cheat on you again. That's how it felt.
Maybe you should watch like a happy movie tonight. I'm worried about you.
I think you're right.
Are you done talking about this movie?
It sucks. Go watch it if you want, but like,
You usually don't react like this to most movies.
just so over it.
All right.
I'm so over talking about this film.
Okay.
Did you even rate it?
I'd give it like a 1, probably.
So still, I'm more optimistic.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.